Welcome back to Final Fantasy V. Last time we started the interdimensional rift, and bodied most things except for Omega, who was a challenge, but we still defeated Omega. So now onwards to, well, part 2 of the interdimensional rift.
I'm gonna date the recording. Hey, if only you put off that Omega fight until this week.
I feel like Omega's such old tech that he wouldn't have blue screened. He would have been fine. See, long ago, Roiling Skies opened, Omega just fell out of the sky, and then there was a dragon who was like, I fucking hate that robot, I'm gonna get his ass. But it's one of those situations where you don't want either one of them to win, because they both suck. So anyway, we fought Omega, but we haven't fought this dragon, so, Well, anyway, that's a later problem. For now, it's a panda. Oh, not the dimensional switch. Do you want to explain what that is? No? Okay, so, this guy looks like Byblos, and he works a lot like Byblos, too. If you summon Ifrits, you can actually get him to just turn around in fear, and he has to use an item, I think, to calm himself down. So yeah, you can basically just completely stop him from doing anything. But here's the problem for a panda. He's about as effective as an actual panda. He's dead now. Well, goodbye. I didn't even need to cheese you with Ifrits.
You have me worried with all that talk about, oh, we haven't fought Shinryu yet.
He pukes out Shinryu. He just falls over, the mouth lifts, and then you see Shinryu smiling as he pulls it up.
Yeah, what was the dimensional switch then? Oh, there we go.
Alright, so we've got a little bit of time before we reach the next major thing, so I think in terms of things I want to talk about, I actually want to mention the music again. We talked about the music a while back. It's still good. I'm not going to say the music in this game is bad, the GBA port specifically, but I will say, I've been using the SNES versions for the end slates, and I actually really like the instrumentation of the SNES version. I think there's a certain, like, almost haunting quality to a lot of the songs that works really well for kind of setting a mood that doesn't quite hit in the GBA version. Again, the remixes or the ports for the music are fine. They're still perfectly listenable, but I kind of like the older songs too. Also, here's Sword Dancers. Cool design. Does not stand up to scrutiny. And by scrutiny, I mean punching.
Our sword dancer is better. When Krill busts out her sword dance, oh buddy.
Yeah. This child is outplaying you. What are you even doing? Oh, hello, terrifying thing! Alright, so if you've played Final Fantasy, you know Iron Giant is a fucker, so I'm just going to quadcast Holy, if you don't mind me.
This is fucking slander against the beloved animated film.
Yeah, if you're expecting that, Iron Giant, no, this one loves violence. He can't get enough of it. He shouts Lex Luthor and then he slices you in half with that giant sword.
Do you have... Missile is blue magic, right?
Yes.
What if using Missile on him one-shotted him?
That is not in fact the case. He probably just eats it. Or, alternatively, he just steps to the side and a small town is nuked.
So I'm just losing my shit at the prospect of evil Iron Giant where he just goes, well, I'm out, and then he just flies away.
Bye, bitch.
Sounds like a you problem.
Evil Iron Giant be like, kills man immediately.
I am a gun.
I'm a gun. Also, I wield one. Which would also be wild for the Final Fantasy enemy, too, to be fair. Just fucking throws the sword down, takes out a shotgun as large as he is. Oh, no, we're not. Okay, well, goodbye, I'm gonna leave now. Oh, well, we're trapped here now. Okay, yeah, it's us. You got us, you figured us out. Alright, so... Azumarill is a really cool boss in concept, because he's actually a blue mage. Not only does he have several blue magic spells that he can use, if you use blue magic against him that he doesn't already know, he will actually learn it. However, while that's a cool concept, it is also a pretty big weakness of his, because if you don't mind sacrificing a character, you can have a character use self-destruct on him. He will then use self-destruct and die instantly. So yes, he is a blue mage, but he's not very smart. You can just fucking explode and he'll be like, damn, that's a good idea! Here I go! But I'm not doing that, of course. I'm just gonna nuke him, honestly. You can't learn summons. And honestly, it would be rad if you could, though. That would be a hell of a turnaround.
I just fucking noticed his name, Azumarill. Azul is blue in Spanish.
Yep.
He's just El Blue Mage.
He's the Spanish Blue Mage. If you're playing the Spanish translation, he's just called Blue Mage.
Anyways, we were joking about Evil Iron Giant earlier, and it reminded me there was a film called Next Gen that doesn't quite fit that description, but could if you're trying to stretch it to fit a joke. It's a... oh wait. The boss is over, probably something else to talk about now.
Keep going.
It's an animated film about a dangerous robot that becomes friends with a small child, but the small child is not as kind as Hogarth, and it uses him to get back at her bullies.
Ah, I see. Alright, so for some reason, there are a bunch of Altaroids in prison cells, and they count as bosses, and I don't know why. So, Old Man here can use Encircle to just vanish you from existence. When you do enough damage, he becomes Jura Avis. You remember this guy, right? He can do Maelstrom, he can do Breathwing, just, you know, a whole lot of Storm-ish spells, basically. But also, he's easy too. And so there's about, what, 6 of these guys, I think, overall? I'm not going to be showing all of them because it is the same fight over and over, but I'll show a couple of them. Basically, one to show it off, and then another to show off that it is the exact same fucking fight.
I've tried to be sparing with my comparisons, but this feels like a room in Live Alive. Especially just the way the guys move on the overworld. Reminds me of how enemies move, both in Live Alive and the Romancing Saga games that are on the Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
They're just slightly too excited.
They love being enemies. So as far as I know, you cannot actually skip the, Jura Avis fight. You do have to get that one. You can't do so much damage to Altaroid that, you skip this guy, but you can basically skip him by just being very strong like Krill. A small child is just bodying all of these guys completely. Alright, so first reward, Rainbow Dress. So, Rainbow Dress does the same thing as the Lamia Crown, and unfortunately, just keep attacking me through the bars. Unfortunately, that and the red slippers do not stack with the Lamia Tiara. You cannot guarantee Swords Dance, but, you know, you can choose what piece of equipment you have that increases its odds. And yeah, this is a great start to the Catastrophe fights.
This thing just Kame'd on us?
You know what? I guess that is more or less it. He Capdons you with his many, many tendrils. However, does not have lips, cannot make out with you. Instead, Catastrophe has put all of his points into bringing the building down on you. He loves Earthshaker. He's going to use it so many times. He doesn't have a petrification attack, but he mainly focuses on this. If you want to waste his time, cast Float on yourself, and he will use up time trying to 100G you back to the ground, because he really, really likes Earthshaker. I will also say, this might be one of my favorite bosses in the Interdimensional Rift, just because it's just this weird, bizarre being with no true explanation, doesn't even talk to you, so I feel like he fits really well with just the Void in general. Catastrophe is just a weird thing that exists, and tries to do some earthquakes before he dies. Alright, so yeah, that's it. Despite this guy's whole weird-ass deal, he just dies. This feels like it's a, Showa-era Toei movie. We have all of these elaborate costumes, and a whole bunch of guys are going to fight us, and, they might get some licks in, but ultimately, we are just going to completely wreck their shit. Anyway, here's a random woman in the void. Well, I'm sure that's not important. Anyway.
You're exactly right. I'm just thinking of that scene where, X-Death hanging out in the void and all his generals walk up, and it's just a bunch of, weird, not really unified designs with all the different sprites.
They're weird. They're unified in that they're weird as fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only thing missing is X-Death just shouting out their names as they appear on screen before they leave to go fight us at the end.
Yeah, the only thing missing is the one where we kill the guy and then he crawls into a coffin and dies.
God. That could absolutely happen. Alright, so, Fury, I think their deal is that they just cast Berserk or something. I don't know. I don't care. Krill, body them.
We are beyond caring at this point.
Yeah, you pretty much have to be a super boss to threaten me at this point. Otherwise, whatever. So Dancer's pretty much just the hidden MVP. I've never really cared that much about Dancer, but actually, being able to just use Swords Dance fairly reliably on a monk is in fact one of the best things you can do.
Is that a shortcut?
Alright. Yep. Yeah, there's a shortcut, but for some reason we can't go this way. Nope. Force back to the throne. I smooched ya! What's this? Kain from Final Fantasy IV! What are you doing here? Halicarnassus. I'm not gonna pronounce that. Halikanos, as he's known in other versions of the game. Alright, so he's got some various spells, though despite the fact that he really does have a dragoon look about him, just some kind of demonic dragoon. He's really more just a weird effects guy.
Well, the way his cape looks makes me think of a jester.
Yeah, it's got the little balls at the ends, and they're all just, pointed up like that. Also, hey, guess what, motherfucker? Dual cast Toad. What are you gonna do about this?
I thought Bartz was gonna get to cast Double Flare as a Toad.
Unfortunately not. Also, apparently, he will also counter summons. So, if you hit him with a summon, apparently he just uses a lot of basic attacks. Just something called Strong Attack that hits like 8 times. So, you know, he is copying my tactics. He's trying to do a Krill here, but unfortunately he's not as effective. Trying to do a Krill or a Lena.
This was the guy here to stop my attacks.
Alright, and here's Twintania, a boss that is probably the hardest guy out of all of them, cause he's kind of a Bahamut knockoff. He sure does like his flare attacks, amongst other things. So, there's actually a gimmick that we're not going to see. He's using Mega Flare now. We did, however, read a book that talked about a spell called Giga Flare, which cannot be worse than 2 Mega Flares in a row, which, yeah, no, he kinda counters dual cast. I'm pretty sure. I think that's what that was. But he's got a lot of powerful attacks. He can charge up a Giga Flare. However, apparently, he also loses the heavy status effects when he starts powering a Giga Flare, so you can hit him with some shit when he's doing that. So, back in the day, getting lucky with the Gladiator's finishers is how I killed that guy. Because honestly, he is very difficult. Unlike everybody else, he just hits very hard very quickly, and he also hard counters one of my more useful abilities, which I'm glad it only takes 500 ABP to unlock in this hack, because man, it would suck to get hard countered by something I had to get 999 ABP for. I mean, I guess it shouldn't be completely broken, but still, come on. Use dual cast.
How do you like getting Mega Flare?
Unfortunately, don't have dual cast on Ferris, so I can't also double Mega Flare him. Anyway, yeah, he didn't even get to use his Giga Flare. He didn't even try to charge it up. To be fair, I don't know if I've ever gotten to the point where he's tried doing that. Because even before Dancer Monk, Gladiator's finisher is pretty strong if you get the elemental attack. Anyway, Twintania blew up and became a staircase, which will actually lead us to the teleporter to the final area in the game. You don't see it, but it is there, and that's where we'll be going next time on Final Fantasy V.
You compared the bosses in this video to a Toei Toku movie from the Showa era. They kind of were reminding me of, like, Shin Megami Tensei bosses, because, like, they're there, they have their gimmicks, and if you weren't completely steamrolling them, they would be defined by what gimmicks they had in their boss fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nobody hit us with 1,000 press turns.
Yeah, apparently they fixed that in the Nocturne remaster. Mott no longer spams Dragon Eye, giving himself 4 turns and then killing you before you can do anything.
SMT fans are furious.
Some of them actually were. In a game as hard as Nocturne, a boss fight like that's just kind of funny. I, for one, am not very good at the game, so I'm glad they removed that, so Mott just can't give himself 16 turns.